When does the fantasy start?
Klanit dis Yaxi Jun Tadulan Bukulan.
This particular bottle is a bottle of nectar.
Seek the Never Elf. He alone unlocks. So I think you've all decided you're going to go to the city. So on horseback, the trip will take you about 3.5 weeks.
Our security services. I'll take first watch.
Because Nyla's second watch. Gary wakes you up for your watch. An hour or two into the watch, the sun starts to rise. You notice something on the horizon. You see a dust cloud. Nyla, you stand there looking at this dust cloud, and it makes you think like there's a big group of something heading this way down the road, and they're coming fast. What do you do?
Okay, so first thing I will do is I will grab my bow. I will just start hitting my compatriots and saying, hey, something's coming. There's a lot of something coming. And I will whack Gary and Elias and Grandall, and I'm not going anywhere near Pierre.
Well, having had a full night's rest, I get up, quite fresh-faced, really, considering.
I'm quite the opposite, I would imagine.
Yeah, you
You've
are
got about 2 hours sleep at this point.
very, very tired.
Yeah, I'm a sleepy little fella. That's for true.
Grandall sort of yawns and stretches and kind of, oh, that's so much better. Oh, what's going on?
I just point at where the dust cloud is coming from and just go, is that a normal thing that happens?
Is it, Jack? Do we know?
I mean,
On this kind of road?
So, Grandall and Elias, having both travelled this road, it's pretty normal for roving bands of scorn to ride down the road and demand toll.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That could be an issue.
Sure thing.
We've set up camp just slightly off to one side of the road, yeah?
Yeah, you're off the road, but obviously, the wagon can't go too far off the road, because obviously it's grassland and it's muddy and stuff, but you're not miles away.
Grandall sort of sees this when it's pointed out, and he goes, milady, gentlemen, Pierre, we should hide.
I'm not hiding from any scorn.
Okay, well, I'm going to hide. Have fun with that.
How many scorn are there, Jack?
You can't see yet.
A dust cloud's worth.
Is it an amount?
It's an amount, yes.
An amount.
I knew it.
Gary, I think maybe we should fall back, assess the situation, and then act accordingly.
Yeah, Grandall is going to, I want to roll stealth on this and, merge into the bushes.
Yeah, it's fine, do that.
Cool.
What, you mean like an ambush?
Yeah. Like an ambush, Gary.
Ooh, that's a great success with a 4.
Nice, yeah, you can kind of, it's kind of very, it's farmland here, so that's one of the other reasons why you can't get too far off the road, to be honest, is because there's, hedgerows and stuff. So you're essentially in a lay-by.
Yeah.
You can kind of get into the bushes at the side of the road. That's not a problem.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you.
I'll walk over to Pierre's tent. I've got to go, Pierre. Wakey. We need to get off the road real quick. There's a band of marauders coming. Yeah, marauders.
What?
Marauders.
It takes him a while to kind of really fully awaken. He'll get up and they'll kind of walk over to the road where Nyla's still probably pointing, I imagine, down the road. And he'll look down the road and he'll just go, and he'll turn and run to the cart And obviously, as I said before, the cart is like got this really gaudy purple, like sign on it, and he'll put his hand into the front of the cart and pull like a lever, and another rolled up like cover will unfold itself, unroll from
Does
from
it
the
have
top
nothing to steal
and-
here written on it?
and cover over. And it's like this kind of brown, shabby-looking thing that says... It's still got, like, the same emblazoned thing on it, but this is, like, roughly stitched on, and it says Pierre's... sorry, I've written this down. It says Pierre's pig shit and fertilizer.
Yep, that'll work.
What worries me most in this situation is Pierre is actually the most charismatic of all of us. So it was nice knowing you.
Well, speak for yourself.
I'm a delight.
At this
Yeah, I'm
point,
gonna
Nyla,
grab-
you've got the most perception. You'll see two Scorn on horses kind of break out from the cloud, and like speed up down the road. And there's two Scorn now kind of galloping down the road pretty quick towards you.
How much dust are they kicking up, those two?
Those two are kicking up a fair amount of dust. It's quite dry. It hasn't rained in a while. If you give me, if you can get a great success on...
So you knew exactly where I was going with that, didn't you?
I did 100%, yeah. If you can give me a great success on a... What are the skills again?
Intelligence?
Give me... If you got like wilderness law, that'd be the best one.
I do not. I have all of the other
Dust
laws.
law. I have wilderness law, but it is intelligence based.
And if someone can give me a great success from wilderness law, I'll give you a rough estimate of how many people there are in that dust cloud.
I think that's probably going to be Lyra.
I did it. Lyra?
Sorry, what did I say?
Lyra.
No. Sorry, that's my other game. My bad.
Oh, okay. I did indeed get a great success. I rolled a 5.
Nice. Okay, so you can kind of, from the amount of dust that the two horses are kicking up, you guess that maybe there's like 8 or 9 horses worth of people probably in the dust cloud behind them.
Okay, I'm gonna...
We could fuck them up.
Okay. I'm gonna be like... I'm gonna have my bow at my side ready. I'm going to just say there are about 5 or 6 of them. They look pretty determined. I'm going to get back to where I'm most useful, which is to the tree line. I suggest you, Elias, get behind me or Gary, and we see what they want or not. And just, I don't know, Scorn. I'm so confused as to what Scorn actually are all about, Gary. I'm really sorry.
Yeah, they're generally not all that nice. Not like me. I'm lovely, I'm told.
You're going to deal with this? Yes. Pierre says that as he's climbing into the back of the cart.
I do believe this is what you're paying us for, Pierre.
Exactly. And he pulls kind of the cart shut.
So we're just going to, like, fight them, or what?
I think we should try a little talky first.
Yeah. Nyla's going to head back to the tree line so that if anything kicks off, she's got a good shot.
How
Where's
far
Bear?
is the tree line?
So it's not really tree line, it's more just hedges. It's quite low. There's not really much in the way of trees here. You're probably a field's width away from the Major's Folly Woods, and the road is essentially hedgerow lined this bit, but it's quite low hedges. So you've got Grandall kind of crouched in that kind of the shadow of the hedgeway. The clearing of the road, so the road is wide enough for 2 wagons to pass, one going each way. And there's a lay-by on each side, slightly offset. So almost essentially the clearing you've got is slightly wobbly figure 8 sort of size shape that's cleared, and you're like off to the further one away from the Scorn. So you're pulled into this first lay-by. There's another lay-by that's just slightly offset to the one you're in on the other side of the road, and there's a low hedgerow that runs around both of those and up the road. And either on each side of the road, the other side of the hedgeways are kind of fields.
Cool.
I want to get behind a hedgerow then.
Cool. Yeah, you can get through the hedgerow. It'll take you a minute. Where's Bear going to be?
Bear is going to be standing next to Elias, I think.
Cool.
And I'm going to get back to the hedgerow if I can't get through it.
I'm assuming you're in the hedgerow as well, Grandall.
I am.
Yeah, he's done a pretty good stealth.
Sweet.
So what are you and Gary going to do?
I'm going to strike a pose.
I'm gonna stay out the front.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, as Nyla kind of shimmies through where did you say Bear was? Sorry, Nyla?
Next to me.
I'm going to leave Bear next to Gary and Elias.
Cool, that's fine. I knew you said it, but I just didn't take it in. And if you got, so you're the other side of the hedgerow, but you can obviously still see over it. So you're essentially in cover right now, like half cover. Yeah. So the two Scorn kind of ride up to you. They've got big, heavy-looking clubs on their backs, and they immediately kind of slow when they come into the clearing, and they trot up to you and Elias, Gary, do that thing where they kind of ride around you a little bit, and they look down at you and they point, and they kind of make like the international gesture for money, and they say pay, toll, 100.
100? I just look at Gary.
I look back and then look at the Scorn. I'll be like, Scorn discount.
They both kind of look at each, so they're speaking, so that, by the way, is me doing low common rather than regular common. Yeah. So yeah, they both kind of look at each other when you say that, and they don't really know what to say, and they just kind of, you wait, war chief decide. And they kind
there's no Scorn word for discount.
Yeah, they just kind of they kind of can continue circling around you. They give you a little bit more space, but they continue circling around you until the rest of their party can arrive. Assuming you allow that to happen.
I
look at Elias. I'm not 100% sure. You're the smart one. You do a thing. That's not what I actually say. That's what my eyes.
Yeah, that's the look that you. I just very subtly just shake my head, just a touch. I don't want them to notice, but I want Gary to notice.
Give me like sleight of hand, I suppose, or if there's a skill that's akin to that, like to test your subtlety.
I don't have sleight of hand, but I am a fairly dexterous man, and
Deception.
Yeah, give me deception. Actually, that's the one. Yeah, deception.
I don't have deception as a skill. I'm guessing it's charisma.
It's a charisma, yeah.
It is one.
It's not good.
Good luck.
It's a failure. I rolled a 6, and it's a failure.
It's fine because you are. It's opposed against their insight, which is
Okay.
Probably
Intelligence or perception.
The whole time,
Yeah.
by the way, while they're circling us, I am giving them not a stink eye, but like I am like standing firm and not showing any weakness.
I rolled a 16. Oh, good to know. But Gary, yeah, that they will kind of. That's one of the reasons why they didn't immediately like club your head in, because you did kind of confuse them a bit. Because normally the people they deal with are obviously just like, okay, I have money, go away. They got a 16 on their check to see if they noticed you, so I don't think they didn't manage that. They are even less. They're not intelligent at all, and they got a very high number on their check. So that's a total failure for them.
Good.
And it's even worse than yours was. So
I have my crossbow out, by the way.
Oh, cool.
Bear is just circling round Elias and Gary to just.
I imagine he's going around them one way, and the horses are going around them the other way.
Yeah.
Cool. So, I mean, are you doing something? Otherwise, they're gonna arrive.
I'm just happy to wait. for the
Yeah,
war
I'm
chief.
happy to wait for the war chief.
I'm
Cool.
waiting for that. Come.
I didn't want to say it happens, and then you'd be like, oh shit. So as the cloud gets closer, you see 2 chariots pulled by ox, like big, not ox, but like big bulls, charge out of the dust cloud essentially, and with them is another chariot pulled by a massive a set of 4 massive boars.
I could see you riding a chariot, Gary.
I could see myself riding a chariot too, to be honest.
And the
Harriet.
Gariot. So the 2 with the bulls, they kind of just charge straight past you and like circle round like real deep. They go literally right close to the edge of the clearing, and kind of come up back around the other way, as if that's the only way they could possibly have slowed their pace, is to go that far. Whereas the other chariot kind of just pulls up, almost like kind of pulls up and slides slightly on its side as it comes to a halt in front of you. The boars all kind of stop and kind of pawing at the ground, or not pawing, hoofing the ground. And you see, so the 2 chariots with bulls have each got 2 big burly scorn on them. Both of which each of which also have a big club. And the chariot pulled by the boars has got an even bigger, burlier scorn woman. And so she's kind of got these massive tusks. She's like absolutely massively, her arms are huge. She's got like a big spiky like club that you can't decide whether it's a club or an axe because it's got so many big like spikes coming out of it on one side. You think you could probably use it for both quite easily. And she's kind of wearing the kind of traditional Scorn furs and all the body paint and stuff, but you notice that none of the other Scorn have got any of the body paint on them at all. And she steps off the back of the chariot and like looks at both of you and then like continues to look around the glade, well, not glade, the lay-by. And she eventually, after a moment of like looking around, she notices Nyla, and she walks straight past both of you and starts to speak to Nyla. The boys didn't come back. That mean you not pay. Why not pay?
She's speaking in common.
Yep.
What?
My boys take toll. You not give toll. There be reason why you not pay.
I look over at Nyla and like sort of show the side of my arm and like flex my bicep. And, like kind of like look at her like, like strong, you strong.
Okay, I'm gonna like breathe in really deeply, like pull myself up to probably not a very tall height, and look her dead in the eyes, and put on my like almost noble stance rather than my noble voice.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be like, why should we pay you?
You pay to be safe.
From
We own road. You pay us keep road safe.
from what?
Other Scorn.
We pay you to protect us from more of you.
Different us.
And what's to say that you're the good guys in this situation? What if we came across the other Scorn and they also demanded that we pay them to protect us from you?
Other Scorn. Dude talking with words. No.
I think we're okay. We probably don't need help. And I look at Gary.
When you kind of look at Gary, she will turn and look at Gary, and it's kind of like, Gary, you suddenly feel like she's actually looking at you, whereas before she just registered your existence and didn't really look at you. And she kind of looks at you and goes, and she kind of walks over and like pushes your shoulder like quite hard, as if she's trying to push you over.
I try my best to not move a single inch.
Cool, give me strength.
One was a 4, so I'm going to say that is a great success.
Yeah, you literally don't budge. She and you can see the muscles in her arms strain as she pushes you, and she's just like, yes! And she turns back to Nyla and says, I want him. How much?
May I ask for what purpose?
He would be great breeding stock.
I look at Gary and do like a murder.
Even though a half breed, he is strong.
I look at Elias, just kind of raise my eyebrows a little bit, interesting.
I'm afraid he's not for sale.
You want him for yourself. I can respect that. 50 gold and you can go.
I don't know. I would have to consult with my friends.
Yes. Talk. And she'll kind of whistle and do a kind of, spins her hand over her head, points at all of the, the thing I'm talking about, where she does the thing where she's like, and wrap this up motion, and everyone kind of moves out of the clearing a little bit and goes over to the other lay-by, essentially. And she's just like, talk, decide. We also talk and also decide. And she kind of walks off, and you get the impression she's not going to do any talking to the people she's with. That's just...
So they're in another lay-by.
Yeah, they've kind of... So the lay-bys essentially bisect each other. They, when they kind of overlap by a quarter, maybe. They've kind of gone a bit further down the road in the direction you want to go in.
I'm guessing they're fairly clumped.
Yeah, they're all together.
I will come out of the hedge towards Gary and Elias and pet Bear. You can see that I'm probably shaking a little bit from being so close to a full scorn.
And just for reference, this woman is she makes Brienne of Tarth look like a toddler. She is absolutely massive, edging 9 foot tall. She's huge.
They appear to be matriarchal. That's quite interesting.
Yes, I think you did quite a good job there, Nyla.
Give me general law, Elias.
It's a 10, which is a regular success.
Yeah, Scorn are not matriarchal.
I didn't think they were.
Ever heard before. They are a very kind of women are used for breeding, and that's pretty much all they're good for type race. They do the cooking and the cleaning and raise the young until the young are old enough to go and fight, and then they're sent to go fight.
Gives me the impression that she's even more badass than she looks, if she can put herself in a position of that kind of power.
Yeah, and she's being referred to as War Chief, which is Gary, you know this just from the fact that you're kind of a half-scorn. That's a really, people don't get called that for nothing.
Yeah.
That's a very honoured title.
I don't think this is going to go well unless we pay them. So the question is do we pay them?
Well, it's a bit early in the morning for a fight. Maybe...
I mean, I'm fairly confident I can put a large proportion of them to sleep.
Granted.
I mean, I don't mind a fight, but I am quite tired. We could always get them later.
We could, but that still means paying them now.
I guess it depends how easy we want our trip to be.
I'm guessing Grandall stayed hidden.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. I'm quite reluctant to pay them, because if we're going to have to pay every kind of band of mercenaries that wants them to protect us, no, terrible sentence.
The fact that they actually spoke to us.
Every band of mercenaries.
But then, I mean, at some point we're going to run out of money.
She said the others that we meet would probably kill us on sight. So if she's the more reasonable, perhaps we should just pay them. Maybe they can protect.
It's up to you, Elias. You're the smart one. You decide.
I mean, you could sleep with the woman, Gary, get your 50 gold, and then pay her with the 50 gold.
Did she say that she was going to pay 50 gold for me?
She said she was going to pay me 50 gold to take you away.
Yeah, well.
Well,
I look her up and down. Is hey Jack, is she hot?
I mean, for
Is
a
she a bub?
Scorn, she is like a big, muscly woman. She's like a pro wrestler with tusks. She's her charisma is more than any of yours. If
That's not saying much.
if that's any indication to attractiveness, her charisma is greater than any of yours.
Completely average, yeah. Well, whatever. Yeah, it's just we're here. We're employed to keep the caravan safe. Let's just.
I mean, we are literally
expenses.
on day one, and we are now out of pocket. The overall pay for this job was less than 50 gold.
Well, I think we should claim it on expenses.
Grandall has snuck out along the side of the little caravan, and is just peeping out enough to sort of get your attention. He goes, "Hey, I've been listening. Why don't we get Pierre to pay for it?"
Excellent idea. Why don't you go speak to him? Let's make it quick though, because I don't think they're going to wait too much longer for us.
Okay, all right. Pierre, can I have a word, please?
Are they gone?
They will be momentarily when you give me 50 gold pieces.
He kind of, when you say give me 50 gold pieces, the kind of curtains to the front of the caravan just burst apart, and he stood there. He's like, 50
We negotiated it down.
pieces? You know, I was listening. And he kind of looks up, and he looks across the lay-by to the band of Scorn, and she's like, he just says, damn savages. And he'll bend over and kind of rummage through his stuff, and he puts his hand to his waist to get his coin parts, and then it's just like, and he kind of turns and smiles and puts his hand up and is like, one moment. And he's like, starts rummaging around the floor to try and figure out where his gold purse is. And then he's just like, and opens one of the chests he's got instead. And he pulls out like a platinum piece, and it's like, do you think she'll have change?
Oh my
What, I mean, what's the exchange rate?
Like, it's not a piece of platinum, it's like a bar of platinum.
Oh shit!
And he's like, no.
So it's more
What
than
have I
100
said?
gold's worth.
Yes, much more. He's like, no, what am I saying? And he closes that thing and opens the one and goes, oh, here it is. And he kind of rummages for a bit, and he pulls out like another coin purse that's like identical to the one you stole, Grandall. And he like opens it up, and he's like, he like takes like 3/4 of the coin purse out and like dumps it into the chest and closes it and locks it again. And then he kind of tosses you the coin purse, Elias, and says, her rates have gone up. I'm not happy about this. And then he pulls the curtains closed.
I'll hold out my hand to Elias to take the coin purse,
Okay, I'll give it to you.
and I'll walk over to her.
Now that the decision has been made to give them money, Grandall has joined the group fully. He's no longer hiding.
As you start to approach her...
I will go with Nyla.
Oh, cool. As you start to approach her, Nyla and Elias, she will turn and she'll kind of unfold herself. She's been sat, like, on the edge of her chariot, just watching you guys, like, discuss whether or not you're going to pay her. And she kind of stands up and is, like, heartily laughing as you approach and goes, the tiny man decided to pay. He always does. The little man decided to pay. He always does. Give me the money.
What? So, what do we get for this? You mentioned protection, and you mentioned another group of Scorn. But what specifically do we get for our money?
Protection. We protect you to town.
How far is town?
Today.
Oh,
I
good. We'll
hand
be
her-
there later today.
I hand her the coins, and I say, how about some information as well?
As she takes the coins from you, she goes, ha, 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 and she kind of like punches you on the shoulder, and is like, I like you, girl, and then does the same to Elias. Elias, make a will save.
He shatters like a ring vase.
It's a 19.
Oh shit!
Oh dear.
So,
Alright.
just for you guys, benefit, and for the people at home, as part of Elias's backstory, he had a dark and dangerous magic that happened before the beginning of the game, which was when. We'll get into the specifics of that maybe another time. But essentially, there was a combat, he cast a spell, and the dark and dangerous magic effect triggered, which is the reason why he was at 1 in terms of the dice roll when the game started. He was affected by a madness, which essentially means that if triggered, his temperament goes from being normal to being kind of like much more aggressive, and essentially like the sentence that describes the madness is only one of us can leave this combat alive.
Oh gosh.
It is only the lowest
sword-
form.
If I draw
sorry,
my
go on.
sword, one of us must die. Such is the blood god's demand. I dare not disobey.
Blood gods demand. Jesus.
I think, Elias, when the madness triggers, you probably say something to that effect to her. So I don't know whether you want it to be exactly that, or whether you want to kind of give me something off the top of your head that might be more fitting to Elias specifically, seeing he doesn't actually wield a sword.
And there are no gods.
That doesn't.
he's
I was going
mad.
to say that doesn't mean madness doesn't say differently. I think I would. I'd raise my crossbow at this point, pointing at her chest. I challenge you to a duel to the death.
I just go like,
You, a tiny man! Yes! Yes! And she hands the money back to you, Nyla, and is like, finally! And she draws her axe and, like, just kind of motions for her boys to make a kind of circle, make a ring round us. And she...
Elias?
At this point, Gary runs.
Her disrespect demands blood.
Elias, I didn't know you had it in you, mate.
She,
I don't think he does.
As you run towards the kind of the scene, Gary, she will literally point her axe club at you and say, "If you intervene, I will not even give him a chance."
You won't last a round.
And she kind of swings her axe like round her back and does like a bit of showboating, and is like, "Seeing as you are so puny and small, you may have the first hit, tiny man."
Okay. I cast
Elias, what are you
Insidious
doing?
Slumber on her.
I knew you were going to do that.
Which basically, if all goes well, will put her to sleep.
Drop her like a sack of shit, yeah.
I'm hoping so. So it's very similar to the sleep spell as we know. So the spell affects 15-foot radius, blah, blah, blah. It's 4d4 hit dice worth of creatures.
So roll me 4d8s. No, 44, sorry. What am I talking about?
4 and a 3. And a 2 and a 3. So 9. Targets with 5 or more hit dice are immune.
Cool, so she does not have 5 or more hit dice?
No luck save is permitted.
Cool. So does she just fall asleep?
She does just fall asleep.
Cool. She has 3 hit dice. Does one of the other Scorn also fall asleep? They have 2 hit dice.
I mean, were they within 15-foot radius? Because I was going to center it kind of...
1-5
her.
or...
1-5.
Yeah, oh, then no, there's not. No.
Yeah.
Sorry. I heard 50-foot radius, and I was
No,
like,
15.
damn.
1-5. She is
I
asleep.
heard that and I thought we were.
Yeah,
all
she
gonna
is
go to
literally
sleep.
like, as she kind of swings her axe around you and goes, says that thing about giving you the first hit, she just takes a step towards you, and then just literally falls, face plants to the floor. And she's like, she was stood a bit further away from you, but her head literally like is in the sand of this road, like dirt of this road, like in front of you. Like her head is basically at your feet, and like every single one of the Scorn around her, like immediately are just like, they start screaming. Like,
I should probably do my dark and dangerous magic check.
Yes, you definitely should do that.
It's a 4. And I was on 3.
Oh my god. I wish that had gone off. That'd have been so
Well,
cool.
unless the spell I just cast instantly puts it up by 1.
No, because it's the one. It's for every check you do that you
Okay.
pass. Yeah.
Okay.
So next time a 4 will do it, but not this time. So yeah, and all of the Scorn just immediately start like screaming and shouting, and like they all draw their clubs, and they're just like, ah! And then one of them kind of throws his club at his feet and kneels and puts his hand on his chest and like bows to you, and then as soon as he's done that, all of the others do that as well, and they're kind of thumping their chest in a low rhythm.
I walk into the middle of the circle and grab Elias's arm and put it in the air and scream, "War Chief!"
and then each of them kind of looks up at you, and the kind of the thud of them hitting themselves in the chest subsides, and one of them stands, picks up her axe, and like hands it to you, Elias.
Can I lift it?
Yeah.
I'm not the worst strengthed person.
It's not like it's more like it's not a heavy axe. She's just really strong. If that makes sense. It's not a I use the momentum of my really heavy weapon to hurt people with. It's the I'm really strong kind of deal.
And also I have an axe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I only don't punch people because this is pointy. And he kind of gives you this axe. Do you take it?
I do take it.
And he kind of points at the war chief.
I'm already swinging.
Whose name you have not asked.
I'm already swinging.
And
I'm already swinging.
cool.
Yeah. I mean, I have to.
What are you aiming for?
Her neck. I'm going to cut her head off.
Cool.
What? Oh my god.
I think the madness
Low
does.
fantasy murder hobo.
It demands one of us dies. It's in the wording. If I draw my sword, one of us must die. Such as the blood gods demand. Like, I don't make the rules.
There's nothing saying that one of you can't try to stop him. You guys are not affected by this madness. Just to put that out there. But Elias, obviously, you have been handed this axe, and he does look like he's about to do it. So if anyone's going to react to this, then say now, and we can do a dex check to see who goes first.
I'm quite far away just watching what's happening.
Yeah, there's no way Grandall's going to be able to get there unless he throws something at him. So Nyla, really, it's up to you.
I'm not gonna.
I think something primal has awoken in Gary a little bit.
Oh yeah, Gary is well into this. He's like, yes!
Can I see like madness in his eyes? Has he gone all like super focused weirdness, or is he just
Elias has not looked at a single person other than that woman since he said that.
Okay. So I'm gonna stand in front of her with Bear.
Give me initiative checks, because I don't know, because obviously just because of the amount of time it took to kind of decide to do that, I want to just I don't want to just say, okay, yeah, you've done that. I want to be fair about it.
Me as well. What we
so to see whether or not you can cut. Yeah, so basically just roll initiative between the two of you.
Well, I rolled a 3, so
I got 7.
You just edged it. So yeah, you managed to kind of step in front of her, or not in front of her, but you kind of put yourself like next to her in the way, because obviously Elias, you'd have to kind of reposition yourself to be able to cut her head off. And so Nyla stands before you. Give me another will save, Elias.
it's a 17. My will
Is that a
is
failure?
15. Yeah, it's a failure, I'm afraid. My will's pretty good, but not 17 good.
Nyla, it does not look like he's going to stop. You have a chance to get out of his way.
I want to make Bear try and pin him to the floor.
Cool, give me an attack.
Come on, Bear, you can do it.
Let's hope I fail my will save against murdering Bear.
Oh no! That is 18 plus something.
Oh, that's like probably double my armor class.
Yeah, so this will be a minor exploit essentially, and Bear will pounce on you and knock you down. Elias, give me a will save at advantage.
Well, one of them was a 19, and the other one was a 15, which is my will power.
Yeah, so that kind of, you literally get bodily knocked to the floor, and you lose your grip on the axe, and you kind of, you know exactly what you've been doing. You know the reason why you were doing it, because as far as you're concerned, she had to die, because that was what was required of you for some supernatural purpose. That is still a fact in your head. But you can now see the logic as to why maybe murdering her isn't a great idea, and you can kind of see that you almost hurt Nyla in your fervor to do so, and so now you can kind of come at it from a bit more of a logical standpoint, and it's your choice what you do next.
Bear is on you.
I think initially I would probably resist and try and like throw Bear off. I mean, I don't think I'm anywhere near strong enough to overpower a tiger, quite frankly.
No.
But
Very unlikely you'd be able to manage that.
yeah, I think that's initially what my reaction would be, almost kind of like a knee-jerk reaction to it. But I think after a few seconds, I would probably just lie panting on the floor.
What are the orcs? What's the orcs?
I was just about to ask that. The
Scorn's reaction to this.
They are clearly very torn by this whole thing, because on the one hand, the person who has done the challenge has not followed through, but on the other hand, a woman has prevented it. So they don't know where they stand right now, and that is evident on every single one of their faces.
Are they still kneeling, like hand on chest?
All apart from the one that handed in the axe were, yeah. So all of them kind of, they're kneeling still on one knee, but they've kind of all kind of straightened up, and they're just all like looking at each other a bit like, what do we do now?
They're all facing in the direction of the war chief, aren't they?
Yeah, they're all kind of in a circle into the middle, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, can I pick up the axe?
Yeah.
I'll pick up the axe and I will hold it in two hands like a battle stance.
Yep.
And I will yell and say, your leader has been defeated, but we will spare her. Take her and do not bother us again. And just like stare up like in the eyes of as many of them as I can as I look around.
Can you just give me a D4, Elias?
3.
Cool. I just wanted to know how many hours you're going to be asleep for.
Oh, I'd already rolled it. It was 4, by the way. Sorry,
okay,
I did
that's
roll
fine
it.
then.
I didn't say anything.
That's fine. We'll take it.
Because I assumed I was going to murder her.
Yeah, it's fair enough. Yeah. The kind of the war chief, the Scorn all kind of look around at each other, and it takes a moment. But the one that's kind of clearly head boy, for want of a better term, kind of goes towards you and is just like kind of goes down on one knee and bows to you, and then says, "Chief not fit to lead no more. We follow him or you now."
Your chief was subject to unfair fighting conditions.
I take offense to that, Nyla, actually.
I'm going to hold up my hand towards like behind me to try and shut him up. Take her and leave us.
The head boy again. I'm just going to refer to him as head boy. Head boy kind of stands very like when someone just stands up really suddenly, he does that, like, and he's right in front of you, and it kind of, I would imagine it probably surprised you slightly. And he kind of puts his hand on the axe as if he wants to take it.
And let it go.
He takes it off you, he holds it in the air, and just screams. He's like, ah! And then he runs over to the chariot with the boars and just screams again. And all of the other Scorn just scream and all run to their horses and chariots. He just screams like one more time, and then they all join him. And as they're screaming, he just lashes the boar, and they just ride off down the road.
They didn't take the war chief.
Nope, she is still lying at Nyla's, near Nyla.
I would like to search her pockets, etc.
So you're like, interesting. What does she have on her?
Now that they're gone,
Yeah.
sleight of hand or just detection?
It depends on whether or not you want the people around you to know what you're doing.
Is Pierre back in his tent?
Yeah, Pierre's not paying attention.
Then, yeah, no, I just want to search her. I'm not bothered about who sees.
Cool, give me detection.
Okay. That is a natural 20.
No, she's got nothing on her, and nothing of value that you can find. You kind of,
Cool.
you go to where pockets normally would be, or like coin purses, that sort of thing, and there's nothing on her.
I honestly
She's
didn't
just
expect
wearing
that,
furs.
so that's fair enough.
You guess that the most valuable thing she probably had on her was the axe.
Cool.
I kind of look at Elias and be like, I didn't know you could just kill people just by looking at them.
Could you remove Bear off of me, please, Nyla?
Have you come back to your senses?
There was nothing wrong with my senses at all. I did what needed to be done.
I'm gonna like nod at Bear, and he's gonna dig his claws a little bit into your shoulders. Are you sure?
I mean, I could do exactly the same thing to Bear right this instant if you wanted.
Yeah, I wouldn't mess with him, Nyla. He just killed that woman. Look, she's dead.
Can I see if she's dead?
You can roll her over and do it.
Down.
You can do a dead or mostly dead check like you would with anybody.
I can't remember how I do that.
You just turn her over.
Oh, I do that then.
Yeah, she's breathing. She's alive. She's asleep.
Well, he's failed to kill her.
I never claimed to have killed her. It was Gary who said she was dead.
I mean, if we're going to leave her here, how long is she just going to be lying by the side of the road? She's going to wind up dead anyway.
Oh, she'll be fine. She'll be all right.
Give me a law check, Gary, at advantage.
What kind of law?
General.
He really wants you to know something.
I'm not proficient in that.
That's fine. Just give me a.
Is she either animal or wilderness?
No, but just give me an intelligence check then. But advantage, so don't worry about the normal disadvantage you get. This is Scorn related, so.
Oh, I did roll a 5, which is what I need.
Well, there you go. Yeah, so essentially,
Write that down.
Essentially, you know that now she is no longer the chief, and she is considered dead. No other Scorn that ever considered her to be in a position of power will even acknowledge her existence.
Oh well, that's just a bit sad, that. But it's what you get for accepting duels with Elias. Elias, I didn't know you had it in you, mate. That was amazing. You were all like, "I'll challenge you to a duel," and she was all like, "Yeah, all right then." And then you said some words and wiggled your fingers a little bit, and just like.
Do you remember the bit where I said she wouldn't last the first round?
You did say that, and do you know what? I counted, and you were right the whole time. It was incredible. I'm so proud of you, Elias.
Can I try and wake her up, Jack?
Yeah.
I'll slap her around the face a bit, and oh, she wakes someone up. Yeah.
She is pale, and her eyes are a bit wild. And she kind of as soon as she kind of sees you, her eyes are like unfocused, and she, when people kind of back away like hurriedly when they're led down, she kind of does that from you, and like looks around like in like terror, and it takes her a moment, but then she kind of realizes that she's just like where she was before, and she what? And she kind of looks, she sees you and is like, what magic did this?
Point at Elias.
And she, like, as soon as you point at Elias, she, like, immediately, like, pushes herself away again, like, because I imagine what you have to do when you point to Elias, you have to kind of step out of the way so she can see him. And as soon as she sees him, even though, like, Bear is on him, she is just like, make the tiger kill him while she still can.
I'm not going to do that.
You fools.
I want to make a leadership check on her.
Exciting.
To intimidate her. And I'm going to do that before I say this next thing. I rolled a 4, which is a great success. It's a great success. And I look at her and I get down right close to her, right in her face. And I say, you pay toll.
Fucking hell. So she made a save against that and got a terrible failure. And she literally, like, puts her hand into her, like, robes, into her furs, and pulls out, like, a massive pouch. And it's a pouch that's got Pierre's, like, signature on it, like his, like, what's the word?
Just an old pouch.
Yeah, it's literally his monogram. Thank you. So she pulls out this massive, like, monogrammed pouch that's clearly used to belong to Pierre. It's like really old, and like all of the velvets kind of come off. It's like a little leather pouch now, but it's obviously used to be velvet once. And she just kind of drops it in the ground in front of her, and she is like frozen in fear in front of you. She can't even speak.
Ideal. I pick it up and then walk away, and I kind of look at the other guys just as if to say, like, let's go, let's make like a grand exit. And then just
you don't have to tell me twice.
I want to get a couple of steps closer to her, but like, so I'm down on the floor, so she's at her level.
She like flinches as soon as if you make any like even remotely quick movements. She flinches.
I'm sorry for what happened.
When you say I'm sorry for what happened, she's like, do not trust him. He is a demon. And she like gets up and she literally runs, like, and it's like she sprints, like vaults over the hedge and just runs across the fields, just in a random direction. She is clearly like terrified. She's like as if she's fleeing for her life.
I'll stand up and I will whistle for Bear to finally get off Elias. And I'll go back to like my sleeping bag and just sit down.
I got to Pierre, poke my head in, be like, problems dealt with. I think we should move on.
Yes. Yes. Saddle up.
And I do.
I do.
Go, pack up.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would just get up, silent, walk over, sit in the cart next to Pierre.
Jack.
Yes.
Obviously, these two laybys opposite each other on the road. They're fairly well used, yeah?
Yeah.
Can I do that check for potential gold?
Oh, yeah. Good shout.
50 feet or whatever. What is it for that? Is it just a flat D20?
Just check.
Percentage, wasn't it?
Is 50% chance percentage.
Okay. So, what, D6, easy way?
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah.
Or do you want percentage? Cool. That's a 5.
Cool. Yeah, you can. sniff out there's something buried in the lay-by that you're not in.
Awesome. I'm gonna sort of sleight of hand or stealth this, whichever's more appropriate, so that nobody else sees it.
They know where you are, so unless you're going to kind of go into the bushes and stuff, but you can sleight of hand it.
Cool. Yeah, I will. That is a 3, which is a great success.
So you kind of as you're kind of heading back to the caravan, you kind of get you get a sense for something, and you kind of lean down as if you've kind of I've dropped something, and you put your hand into the hedgerow, and your hand closes around a little gemstone.
Awesome. What colour is it?
I mean, if you're going to look at it, they're probably going to notice, which is why I haven't told you.
All right, no, I just pocketed it then. That's fine.
At some point over the next day or so, you will be able to have a look at it surreptitiously, and it looks to be, well, it doesn't look to be, it is green.
Nice.
Quite a deep green.
Awesome.
And it's
Thank you very much.
It's in terms of size, it's like a thimble size.
Yep. Okay, I got you. Awesome. Nice.
Yeah, can I just confirm that I got that 50 gold back from her because she handed it back to me, right?
Yeah, you did. Yeah. She gave it back to you.
Okay, cool.
You give it back to Pierre.
What? No.
Gary, when you either get someone else to count it, or
Yep.
yeah, I don't think you can count that high. There
Some
is
beans.
250 gold in that pouch.
Damn.
Yeah.
It's a big old pouch.
The big old pouch. Ideal. Have we given Pierre his 50 gold back?
Nope.
No.
No.
How much did you say it was again? Sorry, John.
250.
I'll give,
250.
I ask Nyla, whoever's counting it, can you count me out 50, please?
Okay. I do it.
And then I'm gonna reimburse Pierre his 50 gold because I'm a good boy.
Ah.
Oh, you guys.
Oh, well, thank you, Gary. I will take this into consideration during your review period.
Yeah. Turns out we didn't need it.
Oh,
But
well,
thanks.
I'm very impressed with how you've handled her. She's been quite the interesting person on these roads for the last few years. She is good to her word, I will say, but I do not like having to pay her 100 gold every time I want to go between Final Rest and the next town, whose name I have forgotten.
Townington.
Klontam.
The little village of Hamlet
And
Town.
the next town of Klontam.
Klontam.
Klontam. Klontam.
Klontam.
You're just making life difficult for yourself. Excellent.
Just do like Mark and name everything Dave.
Yes.
Oh yes, between the first town of Dave and the second town of Dave.
Yeah.
The second town it's actually pronounced Dave.
Dave, yes. And then obviously the next town over is Dave.
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 This is getting a bit too fancy for Mark.
It is, it's too fantasy. Calm it down, guys.
Yeah.
Calm it down. Try and lower the tone, please.
Dab.
Yeah, so he says, he doesn't really appreciate having to pay every time 100 gold to get safely between Final Rest and Klontam, seeing it's only like, a 5-day journey.
That's a lot of money.
Yes, it is. She's been doing this for a long time. She's rather well known in these parts, but a threat off the road will pay us dividends if we tell people that we were the ones that took care of it. I tell you that much, good sirs.
Pierre, what was her name?
Her name? Well, she was the war chief. That's what she always used to get called to me.
Well,
I don't
knew
know
that.
what her real name was. If she even had one. Bloody savages. No offense, Gary.
Yeah, well,
At least you've got half of something good in you.
thanks, us.
Come on then.
Yes,
Onward.
I've heard of Pierre the Bigot.
Yes, I'm sure the elves and the dwarves are so much better. Wow,
Grandall just lets that hang.
That killed the mood.
Just sort of staring daggers into the back of Pierre's head and like fingering the handle of one of my daggers in my actual belt, my actual daggers, considering throwing one.
Pierre's like,
But I don't.
Pierre's just like, anyway, let's get moving. Yeah, and he'll kind of just settle down, and he'll look over at Elias, and he'll kind of tap the chair next to him.
I'm already sat
You coming up?
in the car.
Oh, lovely.
I would have gone straight to it.
He kind of settles in, and he says, "Now, I must finish the story." I don't know why he's turned into such a weird woman.
It's Stewie Griffin. Have you been working on that novel? That's how I always think.
yeah.
Working on that novel. We got some interesting character development.
Elias, I do want to finish telling you that story I started yesterday. Now, I think if I remember rightly, we were... And he just kind of starts droning on.
I'm just staring through his soul. I'm burning holes.
He is oblivious. He's just one of those people who will just talk.
I just got to imagine that Elias is sat there, like in his head, he's just going, "Please, blood god, pick this one."
Please challenge me.
Yeah.
So yeah, you all kind of move away from the camp, you clear it up all nicely, and you move away and you move down the road. Hi everyone, Happy New Year. Hope 2020 is going well so far, and thanks for coming back for another episode of Nothing Adventure, Nothing Game. Just a short shout out today, and it's for my brother Matt Baker, who has kindly volunteered to help us with our social media. You will probably notice it has begun to get a lot more polished. That is entirely his doing. We actually have no idea, the rest of us, how we're doing any of that. So yeah, thank you Matt for that. You can find him on Insta at Matt Baker Film. He's a great production designer. He's also been giving me a lot of tips for editing as well, so thank you, Matt, for all your help. And yeah, everyone go find him, go follow on Instagram, big him up. Speaking of social media, make sure you check out this newly spruced Instagram, and also follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Links are in the description as always, and please remember to use #Nancast if you're going to be tweeting about the show or talking to us, and we really want to get involved with you, so that's the easiest way for us to know when you're talking about us. In the next week or so, we are hopefully going to be dropping the map I've been working on as well, so that's going to be of Talnost, just so you guys can follow along where it is the gang is going. It'll be a work in progress. I'm going to update it as they travel, so you'll be able to kind of see more stuff on the map as it is they kind of explore and find those bits, which hopefully will be interesting for you guys, something for you to interact with. Let me know what you think in the comments as always, and yeah, looking forward to hearing your feedback on that one. That's everything from me. Thanks again. I hope we can all continue on for 2020 all together, and yeah, we really appreciate your support. Thank you again, and talk to you later. Bye. As you kind of go down the road, you don't meet any more. Oh my goodness me. Nothing else kind of happens whilst you're travelling down this road. There's no more kind of bands of scorn, or there's no like packs of vicious dire wolves or anything that attack you. It's quite uneventful actually, other than that one meeting with the war chief and her boys. And you you get to the next campsite, and you camp and you do a watch. I'm probably thinking that Nyla makes sure that an actual watch is put in place this time.
Yeah.
Not trusting Gary
sleeps
to
an entire night through because he doesn't have a choice.
Yeah.
He's too exhausted.
And you kind of, tell me, so is there anything you guys kind of wanted to take the time whilst you're traveling to discuss? If you wanted to ask Pierre anything, do you want to talk amongst yourselves? Because essentially, nothing interesting is going to happen between now and getting to Klontam.
Well, Gary will not shut up about that whole situation. That blew his mind. He was so impressed with Elias. Like, yeah, beyond belief. He's never seen anything so badass in all his life. And he is just chewing people's ears off the whole way about it. Just like, did you see the bit where she like fell like right on her face like in the sand and like got it all in her mouth and that? Oh my god! I've never ever seen anything. Elias, that was amazing. It was incredible. Like I'm just so proud. So proud.
Thank you, Gary. It was nothing.
Grandall is sort of riding a bit behind the cart on his horse, and he's trying to keep an eye out on where Gary is and where Nyla is, just in case there's any opportunity where he could kind of sneak up behind the cart and like maybe sneak an arm round into the box with the platinum bar that he saw, or any of those purses of gold.
The platinum bar and the purses of gold are both in locked boxes, and the keys are on Pierre's belt.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, he's just sort of keeping an eye out for any opportunity to maybe have a snoop around, or
like
that.
You probably
now that
can
some
find
of the
some
wealth
time.
has been revealed.
Yeah, you definitely can find some time to kind of have a snoop around in the back of the cart. Obviously, if you get too close to the front or anything, Pierre will notice, and so will Elias. But you can have a snoop around in the back of the cart. Give me detection and sleight of hand.
Cool. Detection. Where are we? Okay, so detection is a 7, which is a success.
Nice.
And sleight of hand is 16, which is just a success.
So you put your hand into a loose cloth bag that is in the back, right at the back, kind of like almost with Pierre's tent and stuff, but like underneath it, you kind of have a rummage and you're like, oh, I wonder what's down here. And you put your hand into this, so you put your hand into this bag, and what you pull out is, cool. Give me a D100.
Awesome. That is 69, dude.
Ah, yeah. Nice.
Stop saying you win.
Yeah.
So you find in this, so you put your hand in this bag, and you kind of put your hand around this kind of really smooth wooden box, and you can kind of pull it out, and yeah, you have this smooth wooden box. It's a kind of it's kind of got like really beautiful inlaid silver filigree on it.
Okay, how big is it?
It's kind of so when it's not locked, you can open it. It's a ring case.
Okay.
But it's like a little ring box, but there's no ring inside it. Just like the kind of the place where you would put a ring. But it's like a little wooden one with silver filigree on it.
Okay. Do I reckon it's worth anything?
Oh, definitely. Anything with silver and it's worth
Cool.
something.
Yeah. I pop it in my backpack and exit the back of the caravan thing.
Cool.
And get back on my horse.
Yeah, cool. You managed to do that without being noticed. And you kind of carry on riding. Partway through the second day, so you've had one evening of sleep. Partway through the second day, dark clouds start to gather, and it looks like it's going to start raining. And it will probably be raining, you think, probably in the next hour or so. And they're really quite rapidly growing. It's going to be a heavy rain for quite a while because the dark clouds are kind of approaching from the north. So you're going into it.
Can I see if there's any shelter that we could hide out in if it gets really, really bad?
So the road is essentially not really much changed.
Right.
It's very much farmland. There is. Give me perception.
Okay. That's a great success with a 6.
Yeah. So you kind of when you kind of scan the horizon and you're like looking for something, and you're looking for something a bit too far away, and then you kind of realize that what you thought was a bush is actually like not quite what you thought it was. You thought it was like a shadow, but actually there's a small copse of trees off to like the right hand side of the road. No, left hand side of the road. So like the other side of the road from the Major's Folly Woods, like a small copse of trees, and you realize there's actually like an old rundown building inside it. So you think yeah, go on.
I'm going to trot up to the front of the carriage then, up to Pierre and Elias, and say, that storm looks like it's going to be a problem for us. We might want to think about stopping a little early. There's some shelter up ahead.
Yes. I don't like travelling in the rain. The ruts in the road get all boggy and the cart gets stuck. Yes, I think that's probably a good idea. Well spotted, Nyla. Aren't you doing a good job of earning your pay? Yes, Elias, to the barn, I think.
Sure.
Elias?
Yes.
He's like, realised for the first time that you haven't been listening to him, and he's like, hello?
I don't think I'm the one actually controlling the vehicle, Pierre.
And like Pierre's like, well, I'm not. And you kind of both look, and there's the reins to the horses are just like limp on the chair in between you, and it looks like the horses have just been following the road, like, and keeping up with like Gari or Nyla or Grandall, whoever happens to have been in front of the cart. The horses have just been following them.
So Grandall overhears Pierre say about Nyla earning her keep, and so he sort of rides off up ahead to the building. I want to check the front door for traps, see if it's locked.
Yeah, cool. Give me detection or traps and locks.
Traps and locks. That is a failure, Alex.
Yeah, that seems
18. Fine. Looks all good. Yay!
And it doesn't appear to be locked.
Cool. Okay.
And by that I mean the door isn't fully closed.
Okay. Can I?
It's like run down, like quite run down.
Yeah. Can I? There's no light coming out of it, presumably. Can I hear anything?
Give me detection.
That is success with a 10.
It's the only sound coming from inside is kind of like the creak of a door blowing in the wind.
Okay. Yeah, I sort of push the door a bit further open. I don't step inside just yet and see what I can see.
As you push the door open, you can see that kind of like the roof isn't complete. There's like a hole in it, and the light shines through that and through the door. And it's an old hay barn, you think maybe? There's kind of like an upper section to it that looks like it's still in shelter, and there's some like old kind of gross-looking hay up there that's kind of obviously dried out, and obviously hay is already dry, but it's kind of dry still, but it looks like it's not pleasant. You know, it's a bit like gone off a bit. Maybe it's starting to rot a little bit where it's been left for so long. The circle of light that is kind of where the like rain can get in. There's like a little puddle in the circle of light, and there's like moss and stuff on the floor around that, and a few like kind of swampy kind of plants and stuff around like the edge of it, but you can't quite tell how deep the pool of water is. It's just like a little still pool of water that has the occasional drip fall from like the gap in the ceiling come down. It kind of drips in the water every now and again, and that as you open it and like kind of the creaking door stops because you're kind of holding it, you then can kind of hear the steady kind of drip of this water. It's not a constant drip, it's just occasional, because the rain hasn't actually started yet.
So there's the door that we've gone in, which is a normal sized door.
Yeah.
Is there another sort of bigger door we might be able to get the
normal sized door that you've got hold open is kind of one of those doors that's a door inside a bigger door.
Okay. Oh yeah, I got you. Yeah.
So yeah, you think you could probably pull the barn? You could probably get the cart in and put it in. There's enough space in the there's enough space undercover to put the cart and horse and cart, the cart and horses in undercover, and then you think you would probably be best off up in the loft section, and there's like a ladder that looks, from where you are, it looks like it's probably all right, but you'd obviously have to check that.
Okay, well, I just sort of lean backwards out of the door and shout back down the road, "Everything looks good here."
All right then.
Yes, that's good. Thank you. What was his name?
Grandall.
It's Grandall.
Grandall. Thank you, Grandall.
You're welcome.
I'll come in, move inside.
Cool. There's like a little dirt track that kind of leads from the road across to the little copse of trees with this little rundown hay barn in it. And it's not too hard. I think the lock, the kind of, it's one of those like latches that holds the bigger door shut. It's quite stiff, so you manage to kind of wiggle it open. But Gary, I'm going to need a strength check from you to see whether you can actually push this door open.
I could totally watch me.
I watch.
It's a 6. I need an 8 for a great success. I rip it off the hinges.
So yeah, you manage to. It protests loudly, like it does not want to open. These hinges are basically rusted shut, but you manage to kind of convince it to open, and you manage to get it open. And seeing that you're not doing anything useful in terms of leading the horses, Elias, Pierre begrudgingly guides the horses in himself, and motions for you to close the door behind him.
Motions to me?
No, to Gary, sorry.
Oh.
Yeah.
You better not be motioning to me.
That's what I was going to say.
He's the war chief.
So you have found this shelter. So as I said, there's this kind of pool of water that's got some like swampy plants around it. There's above that pool of water is where the light is getting in, and it's kind of like a ragged hole in the roof. There's the kind of protected hay loft section, like the upstairs bit almost, with an old ladder up against it, and then the bit underneath where the second floor is. It's obviously quite high up. The second part of it is in the rafters essentially, and that bit underneath there is quite dark and gloomy, but you can't see anything in there either from just looking about.
Can I go for a bit of an explore, just to check there's nothing dangerous or loads of rats or whatever?
Yeah, downstairs or upstairs?
Upstairs.
Yep. Give me... Well, you don't need to give me a check because it's climbing a ladder. So yeah, you can climb up the ladder.
Thanks. Yeah, and I have a look around.
Yeah, it's just, it smells a bit like foisty, where like the hay is quite old and like damp, and it's kind of rotting a little bit. That kind of like really gross smell that hay gets when it gets a bit damp and has been there for a while. And you think that's probably not the best idea to sleep on that, but other than that, it seems fine. The floor seems pretty sturdy, and there's nothing up here apart from just hay.
Looks all clear.
Hey.
Hey. This all looks fine. We should be okay here for the night.
So just so I've got it right in my headcanon, like this is more barny than it is shacky.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a barn. It's an old hay barn essentially. You know those kind of traditional like red barns.
Okay.
It's like one of those. It's like an old rundown one of those with a big double-sized door that you've opened up, that has like a smaller door inside it for people to go in and out of. There's a big hole in the roof, and there is that which is letting light, and also obviously let water in, which has caused a pool of water underneath it. And there's like an upstairs section in like the back half of the barn, which is where Nyla is currently, where there's some hay and stuff that's kind of a bit been there too long, and it's gone off a little bit and doesn't smell very nice. But that is as far as you've explored so far. The only kind of dark area that you haven't explored thus far is the kind of the ground floor section of where Nyla is, which is kind of at the back of the barn. That's not lit very well because obviously it's kind of getting gloomy now, and it's kind of not. There's no natural light down there.
I'll totally go have a look.
Cool. So you wander down there. It looks fine in terms of like the floor is solid. It's the walls are all solid. There's no doors that you can see, so it's not like anyone's going to come in from that direction. And give me perception.
Okay, let me just reach for this here dice. Ooh, I rolled a 13. I needed a 14. So, yes.
Cool. So you notice.
Not a great success.
You notice something is kind of hanging on the wall, on the back wall. There's like a little glint of metal that you notice on the back wall.
Okay, I'll check it out.
It's a scythe.
Ooh. Does it look in good condition?
Not particularly good condition. It looks like it's in better condition than you would expect, considering how like run down the barn is. But it looks like it's not. It's rusty. Like where it attaches to where the metal blade attaches to the handle, there's a bit of rust. But the blade itself is actually relatively clean.
I'll take it down.
Cool. Yeah, you got a scythe.
And then walk back into the main barn, and I'm like, hey, Elias, look, I'm the blood god. Oh, you gotta kill everybody. Oh. Classic Elias.
Very amusing, Gary. Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
That's really, the thing is though, I love that because that really kind of does underline the way most common folk like think of it in terms of the gods. It's kind of like superstition, like, oh yeah, the gods are going to get you. How ridiculous is that? Like a lot of people don't believe that the gods ever existed in the first place. It's only really people of learning and the elves and the dwarves that do believe in the gods ever existed, because either they have family members that remember the gods or they studied the books that speak about them quite a lot. So Gary is probably the only one of you who probably doesn't actually believe in the gods in any way, shape, or form. Like, you all know for a fact there are no gods in Talanost. Like, at the moment, that's something you all just know for a fact. They left 400 years ago. That's why magic went tits up. But really, in terms of, like, believing in them, that they were ever real, you probably, like Nyla, that will be a fact that was taught to you when you were younger. You're from a noble house. Like, that is just, you will know your history. That is history as far as you're concerned. Same for you, Grandall. The dwarves have long memories, and it's really important for them that everybody knows the truth of what happened, because as far as they're concerned, it wasn't their fault, because you don't get very many dwarf magic users. It's just less common. And so it's kind of always a case of, oh yeah, the gods left, and it wasn't our fault for once. And then, Elias, you know that the gods existed once, because one of the key things about being taught about magic is to understand why magic is so dangerous, and it's because the gods aren't here to keep it in check anymore. So actually, of the four of you, Gary probably doesn't even believe there ever were gods, because nobody that he lived with or grew up with probably believed there ever were gods, and it's just one of those things that people tell children as kind of scary stories. So that's like that is perfect in terms of the way that people would necessarily consider them. Whereas, like, the three of you,
how I intended it.
Yeah. Like, the three of you will probably wince a little bit about that whole thing about the blood god and stuff, and it's like, it's not necessarily the most respectful thing ever. But
I would like to point out, I didn't actually mention the blood god at any point.
Oh, did you not?
I said out of character
Oh, you did
the
actually.
sentence. I challenged her to a duel and said that her disrespect demands
That's a
blood.
shame.
Just as a little just as a side note, yeah.
Oh well. I still
Still a
like
good goof,
mind.
Gary. Still a good goof.
Yeah.
Cool. So what do you all want to do?
I mean, what sort of time of day is it?
So it's kind of late afternoon, but it's it's beginning to kind of spit now a little bit. It's because the rain has started.
Okay. What kind of leaves are on the trees around this building?
They are ash trees.
Okay. Just have to remember what that looks like.
Yeah, they're like small. Like the ash leaves have got a silverback, I think. No, ash are not silverback. I think I'm thinking of birch, but they are kind of the classic leaf shape, but they kind of grow in little sets of 7 by the looks of things.
Yeah, so Grandall sort of stands out in the rain, and he just holds one of these leaves over the top of his pipe to keep the rain from falling into the bowl
Nice.
as he smokes while he stands there.
Nice.
I did wonder where you were going, where you were like, what's going on with these trees?
Yeah, so that's it's little copse of ash trees, and yeah, so you can do that. Stand outside as it's starting to rain and smoke a little bit, and you're like outside of the barn rather than like in the bit of the barn that's not covered.
Yeah, I think I'm sort of stood. Like there's just a hole in the ceiling. Yeah, the wall is intact. That links up to it. Yeah, so I'm just sort of stood in the middle of that whole area where the water's coming down, sort of enjoying the weather, but still needing this thing to cover up.
So you're probably about. You can walk out into that pool a little way, but you within about 4 or 5 steps are up to kind of like your knees.
Okay.
The pool is much deeper than you originally thought.
Okay. Can I see anything in it?
No, it's like really murky.
Okay. Yeah, I think we sort of stick at a point where it's around ankle depth, like halfway up my boots.
Yeah. But yeah, you can kind of stand in the rain. That's not a problem. I just thought just in terms of like whereabouts you were, it's good to know. Elias, what are you up to?
I am going to be outside under shelter on my own.
Cool. So just like in the barn.
I was kind of hoping there'd be like a lean-to, or if the rain was coming in at an angle,
you can kind of get out. There's a bit of shelter at this point. The rain isn't so heavy that you can't be sheltered by the trees, so you can definitely kind of find some shelter outside of the barn and under the trees if you want to.
Yeah, that's where I want to be.
Cool. Anything you wanted to do particularly?
Not really. To be honest.
Can I go stand with Elias if he's standing on his own?
If Elias doesn't mind your company.
I can't stop her.
So
She's
then,
got
yes,
a fucking great big tiger.
I don't think I'd bring Bear. I think I'd leave him like snuggled up.
I think so. If you're going to go outside to see Elias, because that's outside of the barn, you kind of head out towards outside to Elias, and just like whilst you're kind of stood in the rain, Grandall, Bear kind of once Nyla has kind of left the barn, Bear just kind of wanders over to you and just kind of like nudges you with his head, and is just like looking for scritches.
Yeah. So yeah, I give him a little bite-sized piece of beef jerky, and then I give him a good scritch behind the ear.
Yeah, he'll kind of he doesn't really like the water that much because it's cold, but he'll kind of sit like on the edge of the water on the pool, just kind of sat eating his little bit of jerky, and kind of every now and again like going in for the more like scratches and stuff.
Yeah, well, I see that he's not comfortable with the water. I walk further out, so I'm still just about stood in it.
Yeah, so you can stand in the rain, and it's just like
where he can comfortably sit and get scritched.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. So I just thought I'd something for a little bit of flavour there. So yeah, and then Nyla, you can kind of head outside and head over to where Elias is, just taking shelter under the trees, kind of away from the rest of the group, and go ahead.
I'm sorry I denied you your birthright of war chief.
I was not interested in being their war chief.
You seem pretty interested.
No, I was more interested in the blood debt for the disrespect she showed me.
Okay. I mean, that's just confusing.
In what way?
She didn't really disrespect you. She just touched you.
I did not want to be touched. I don't see what's wrong with that.
I mean, she touched me. You don't see me threatening people's lives. But anyway,
I see what I did today as only positive. I saved a lot of lives. I saved us the cost of the toll. If anything, you stealing Pierre's money and Gary getting the war chief's personal stash. If anything, we gained today from my actions.
Fair enough. I had a question for you, and I wanted to ask you before you run into another fight and get murdered.
Okay.
You seem to know about, obviously, magic, but maybe the gods as well?
I have studied the gods, yes.
Have you ever heard of a Loki Sobet?
I don't know. Let me check my dice.
Let me ask my game master if I.
I'd like to do a divine law check.
Yep. Bex, remind me where this is from.
Jack, it doesn't matter. It's a natural 20.
Excellent. We can both remain in the dark.
If you check my backstory, Jack, you'll see the bit you gave me.
I remember now.
The name's not familiar, Nyla.
Give me arcane law as well.
All right. That, ladies and gentlemen, is another natural 20.
Oh, excellent.
Some things that Elias is not meant to know.
He's had a hard day.
Yeah, I'm tired.
Yeah, sleepy boy. So you've never heard of this at all?
No, it doesn't ring any bells, unfortunately. Maybe when we reach the city, we can attend one of the libraries there and do some research.
I mean, that would be useful. I literally have no idea where to start with this. I've been given a word and something very brief, and I don't really understand it.
A good book is always a great starting point.
I'm sorry, again. I don't know what I did by stopping you killing that woman. I mean, I didn't ever think I'd be in a position to stop someone from killing a scorn. That was weird. That's not really how I was raised. But, I was always told that humans were selfish, but not bloodthirsty, and that the scorn were bloodthirsty. So I'm a bit confused right now.
I was only acting in a manner that was befitting of their kind.
Just as an aside, to you, John, you still are feeling slightly unsettled by the fact that you didn't kill it.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
I couldn't remember whether I'd said that or not. Yeah, that's fine. I just wanted to.
Yeah. That's why he's been silent, and that's why he wanted to be alone.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I just wanted to double check.
Yeah, because he's very much unhappy with how it went down.
I guess I should apologise on behalf of Bear as well. He's a good boy.
Bear was only doing as instructed. He was merely the weapon.
I'm going to smile at Elias and I'm going to go to touch him. just to touch his shoulder. And then think better of it. And pull my hand back and be like, I don't want to be afraid of you, Elias. You seem okay, I guess, but until this morning. You're pretty helpful, in fact, and I'd kind of like that one back rather than this one, so maybe have a sleep and feel better.
I feel fine. Thank you, Nyla.
Okay. I'm just gonna, wander off.
Cool. Gary, what are you doing whilst that's going on?
I like to think, and the way I kind of envisioned that going down was in the movie that is this podcast, in my mind at least, they were having this really heartfelt conversation.
And that's when you then come up and be like, whoa.
I was just in the background on camera, in my mind, just swinging this scythe around.
Scythe around.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That is fully accurate. I can also imagine that.
Yeah, in the background, sort of crossing from left to right, going off camera.
Yeah.
Like, big swipey side strikes.
Not particularly good at it, but
Yeah.
just fucking around.
No, give a dex check. Let's see how good you are.
It would actually be strength because it's a melee
Oh,
weapon.
there you go. Even better.
Yeah, if he tries to throw the scythe, that's Dex.
Yeah. And a critical failure, he would probably cut something off from his own body.
I mean, what sort of mechanical aspects does this scythe have? Is it a weapon or is it more of a farming tool?
It's definitely a farming tool. That is not to say you can't use it as a weapon.
You're halfway to being the Grim Reaper. Just get a big black dressing gown and your Halloween costume sorted.
I'm just imagining doing a big golf swing and slicing off all of his toes in one go.
I mean, that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So, as you're are you inside the barn or outside of the barn doing that?
I was outside, just fanning around with the scythe, but I'll go back in and sit down.
No, I just wondered. So, when you're messing about with this scythe, Pierre will absolutely find it hilarious. He's just watching you, just cackling whenever he watches you. Whenever you swing it, he thinks it's brilliant. And he'll he'll get bored eventually, but as long as you're just happy swinging it about, he'll just watch you and be amused by it.
Yeah, I'll swing it about. I kind of look over at him and just not really know whether he's laughing at me or with me.
Yeah.
Just nervously yeah.
Oh, Gary.
That's so Gary.
That's Gary. Da, 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 da. Boom. Do I?
Who else but Gary?
Yeah, exactly. That's all, folks.
Yeah.
Can I see Bear with Grandall?
Yeah, when you walk back in the barn, Bear's just led on his belly next to Grandall with his head on his paws, getting absent-mindedly scratched by Grandall as he's smoking in the rain.
I just want to watch them.
They just look really peaceful.
Yeah. Grandall's he's staring. I mean, are there any windows in this wall, or is it just solid?
No, it's just
wood or brick?
solid wood. Yeah.
Solid wood. Yeah, he's just staring off into the middle distance towards this wall, smoking, pipe in his left hand with this leaf above it, and his right hand is he's not looking at Bear, he's just got his hand around the back of the ear and gently scratching away.
But I've not seen Bear be this nice to another, especially a dwarf, before.
You've never seen him be this nice to another person before.
Yeah.
Grandall, as you're stood there doing that, as you inhale the smoke from your pipe and you breathe it out, the sound of you breathing it out in your head, you feel like you hear that phrase in Elven as you breathe out, and it jars you back into paying attention to the world again, and you kind of realise you're stood there with your hand on a bear's head, just like you're like, whoa, because when you realise you've zoned out, and that just kind of brings you back, and you're like, did I just hear that?
So yeah, it's not sure. It's not clear if it was like the sound that my breath made, was it, or was it just in my head?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Could you remind me what the phrase translated as again?
The phrase translates to seek the Never Elf, he alone unlocks.
He alone.
Planet Disyaxi Jun Tadulan Bukulan.
I know that the Never Elf is someone who's been banished from the elven communities. Yeah, Grandall he snaps back and kind of stops, like he keeps his hand on Bear, but he stops scratching him just while he's suddenly aware of this idea again. And kind of very much in that way that characters do in films when something like untoward has happened, he just sort of looks about himself to see if there's anything that doesn't seem right, anything that's out of place.
Yeah, you look about yourself to kind of look for something, as you say, look for something that's out of place, and you just kind of, as you look around, you just see Nyla stood by the door, just kind of watching you.
I sort of turn to face towards her, and I just take my right hand off Bear and give a little tip of the cap to her, and then turn away from her again, contemplating this strange elven like phrase, and also the sort of being reminded of the weird dream quest vision thing that led me to it.
Give me perception.
Yep. It's just a failure with a 16.
Okay, cool. That's fine then.
Had a lot of failures this evening, haven't we?
We have, yeah.
Yeah, there's been a few.
It's made it fun.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I was like, make me a check. Oh, you don't make it. Well, then, okay.
Let's move on.
Speaking of failures, let me roll an intelligence check to see if Gary think it'd be a good idea to start a fire in the barn. Not like burn the barn down, but like have a fire.
A campfire, yeah.
Now, I know it's not a good idea, but does Gary? Let's find out.
That would be wilderness law.
Yeah. Even so, that's still, he thinks it's a great idea.
Awesome.
So that's what I'm going to do.
Nice. Yeah.
Whereabouts are you building this fire?
Underneath the hole in the roof.
What, in the puddle?
So that puddle's quite deep, remember? So you can only get so far in. I mean, obviously you can get further in than Grandall can, but within about 4 or 5 steps, it's quite a big puddle. It's probably about 10 foot wide, 10 foot like across at its widest point. At its deepest, not at its deepest point, but within a couple of steps into it, you're kind of Grandall's down to his knees, and you're kind of up to mid calf.
Oh, I see. All right, okay. Well, maybe not in the puddle.
Can I take a step back from the situation? Say we've just watched Gary pick up some wood and walk into a puddle,
and then go, maybe not.
Yeah.
Wait.
Maybe not. I'm just going to make just a little campfire in there.
I'm outside, so fill your boots.
Yeah. I say,
Yeah, you can make a
I'm
fire pretty
perfectly
easily.
fine with the water.
You can make it on the kind of the, for want of a better term, shore of this little puddle. But yeah, you can get a fire going pretty easily. You know, it's not the first time doing that. Even with you're a woodcutter for a living. You can.
Is the floor wood or is it dirt?
It's like really solid packed earth.
Right. Yep. Cool.
It'll be fine.
Yeah. Don't worry.
Famous last words.
Yeah, so you can make a little fire, and it kind of smokes quite a lot to begin with, but then eventually it kind of takes. So I imagine the wood's a little bit damp, but it takes eventually, and you can make a little campfire. Bear kind of, he doesn't want to move away from Grandall because he likes the scratches, but he will move his butt towards the fire where it's warm.
Just pivots round.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
It's like, fire.
Love it.
I reach into my bag and pull out some of my moonshine and take a swig and then offer Pierre some.
Pierre, who's kind of been like just sat in his tent, in the caravan, like counting stuff. He'll kind of look out and be like, and he'll kind of climb down from the cart and wander over and says, "What is it?" As he kind of takes it off you and he smells it and he's like, "What is it?"
It's my own recipe.
Oh, you made this, did you? Exciting.
I did, yes.
It's quite strong.
I mean, it's pointless if it's not.
And he'll kind of do that. He's kind of like, and he'll take a little tiny sip and be like, "Ooh, ooh."
Yeah, it's good for you. It's good for the bones.
Yes. Thank you for that. And he'll just kind of. I think he'll probably offer it to Nyla, as if to be like,
Can I smell it?
He'll just kind of like offer it to you as if he's kind of like assume it, and then like look at Gary and be like, "Pass it around."
Fuck it, I'll drink it.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So you have a drink of that, and you're like, you kind of drink it, and you're like, "Oh, it actually isn't as bad as you thought it was going to be," and you don't cough or anything. It just tastes like, kind of surprisingly, tastes a bit like the elven wine, but just a bit more bitter and not quite as smooth.
A little bit more rough around the edges.
Yeah, like it's definitely the same sort of origin as elven wine.
I take another swig.
But yeah, and it's quite nice. It reminds you of home.
Yeah. I walked to Grandall and Bear, and I hand it to Grandall.
Thank you, lass. And Grandall takes a good double-length swig. And Elias, are you still outside?
Yeah.
In that case, he sort of walks it back over to Gary.
Yeah, I'll take it off him and just like quietly just sit and watch the fire. Just have a little sip.
Yeah, I think Grandall sort of hunkers down next to the fire and staring into the flames, just still contemplating, but next to Bear so he can keep giving him scritches.
Pierre will go on.
I lean against Bear and I also stare into the fire.
Yeah, and even Pierre will kind of join you. He'll kind of go and get like a cushion from the caravan, and we'll put it next to the fire and kind of delicately sit cross-legged on a cushion and kind of stare into the fire with you and kind of look around like beaming, like really happy that he's like being included. And then we'll cut across to Elias stood outside on his own in the rain.
Sorry, that's not funny, but it is.
This is a bit funny.
I thought it was a good counterpoint to have that at. So, Elias, obviously, you're just kind of stood out in the rain contemplating, but I think it might be quite interesting to have some of your kind of... Everyone else is doing stuff. You're kind of just stood outside. But it'd be interested to hear, from my point of view as a DM, and obviously I think it'd be interesting for the kind of the listeners as well, what's kind of going through your head at the moment. And
I'm just kind of in deep contemplation. Just thinking, surveying my surroundings. Yeah, a lot of shit went down today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Didn't quite go my way, which he's not happy about.
Sorry.
Oh, I get it. Elias doesn't. I do. Yeah. Frustrated. Still got that anger inside of him because obviously it wasn't finished. And he just doesn't feel like he wants to be round people. I mean, can I see anything in the night?
Yeah, so by the time the guys have made the fire and they've kind of all gathered together, the rain started to get a bit heavier now. It's kind of coming down from the side of the barn where the hole isn't. So even with the hole in the roof, the rain isn't really affecting the guys inside too much because it's kind of coming down at an angle because it's quite heavy rain. And you're mostly dry under the cover of the trees. And as it starts to get kind of darker, it's not quite evening yet, but with the rain clouds being so heavy, it's really starting to kind of get dark out, and it won't be long, you think, before you actually can't see anything anyway. And you kind of look around and you see like the sliver of moon just kind of beginning to peek out from the horizon, because obviously it was new moon a couple of days ago, and it's beginning to start with the it's waxing. So we're coming into the beginning of the next moon cycle, and as you kind of look up at that, you realise, based on the moon, it's actually the autumn equinox today.
Okay.
And as if to kind of highlight that, a leaf kind of just falls off the tree above you and kind of hits the ground, and it just kind of, it almost heightens this feeling you have of kind of isolation even within the party, and makes you think of, you know, how long it's been since you've actually been at home, because the journey to Final Rest took a really long time, like longer than it's going to take you to get back, because it was kind of a much slower process. You had a lot of things you had to do on the way there. Like, the tasks given to you by your master wasn't just go and find this boy and test him. It was like, you've got to go and do this, which is at the furthest point, and on the way there you've got to stop at every town and, you know, give this to this person and that to that person, and so it's been like, you know, it's coming up to like 3 or 4 months since you've been at home, and yeah, you just kind of feel a bit like weird that it's the autumn equinox and you're not in the city, because it makes you think of the kind of the celebrations that would be being happening around the equinox festival, which in the city particularly, it's really big kind of celebration time. You have like people get together in the streets and have like big street parties, and they cook lots of food, and it's you know, it's like it's a harvest festival.
A harvest festival.
Yeah, and it's a big time for celebration. And you know that you'll be home in time for the Feast of Crows, but you know it's not quite the same vibe. It's a lot darker, the Feast of Crows. It's not as joyful, and it's kind of the most joyful time that the city has is the autumn equinox, and it just makes you wistful, I suppose is the word.
Do I see any life out and about?
Give me perception.
It's a 6, so that's probably a great success. Yes, it is.
So you look out across these fields, and you think, you know, it's just as still and lifeless here as it is in the forest, in the Mage's Forest. Like it's there's no life here at all. And as you kind of think that to yourself, you kind of notice in the ash tree above you there's like a blackbird making a nest, and then you kind of look out across the fields and see like some rabbits running from hedgerow to hedgerow, and the last thing you see the last thing you see kind of before you the last thing you see that you notice and you pick out is just a kind of a little fight happening between some kind of hedgerow birds, like some sparrows or something, that appear to be like fighting over something that they obviously want for themselves, something shiny in the hedgerow.
I'm going to go and have a look.
Cool. Give me a percentile.
Sorry, it was one of the few dice I hadn't actually got out.
Sorry.
99. It's either exceptionally good or really fucking bad.
Or really bad.
So, it's you can tell what it is that the birds are fighting over, but it's not the shiny thing. So the thing that birds are fighting over is kind of a frayed cotton pouch. They're trying to get the cotton pieces for their nests that they're obviously trying to spruce up. The thing that was shiny is a little set of lodestones that was obviously contained in this now kind of frayed and broken apart pouch. It doesn't look like it's a full kind of set. It's 3, and you would normally expect them to be in even pairs. But you find these 3 lodestone.
Cool. All right. Well, I'll pick them up.
Cool.
I will examine them.
They're just kind of basic. They're just magnetic rocks, essentially.
Yeah.
But they're quite strong magnets. They kind of obviously pull to each other. And you know that obviously they will. Don't put them near a magnet because it'll bugger it up.
Cool. All right. Well, I'll just. It's fairly interesting. I'll pick them up. I'll pocket them. Was there any rabbits nearby?
Yeah, you've seen a couple of rabbits running from hedgerow to hedgerow.
What I want to do is I want to take a pop shot at one of them with my crossbow.
Cool. Yeah, you're on attack.
$13? No, +2, 15.
Let me just double check. I think that's a hit.
I hope that's a hit against a rabbit.
Yes, it is. Yeah. So yeah, you kind of just this rabbit kind of bursts out from the hedgerow, heading towards the barn, and you just kind of shoot it, and just boom, pins it to the ground.
I do 9 damage, which I think is a lot for a crossbow.
It kills it.
It's also a lot for a rabbit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you kind of you kind of shoot it, and it goes. The bolt goes straight through it and kind of pins it to the ground. And it twitches for a second, and then just kind of falls limp.
I'm going to retrieve it. I'm going to go back to the barn, and what I'm going to do is actually walk in with the rabbit and place it in front of Bear. And I'll look at Nyla and say, Bear isn't eating enough. An animal of this size should easily be eating 10 to 20 pounds of food per day.
Thank you.
And then I will go and find myself somewhere to fall asleep.
Cool.
I'm going to yell after him. We'll wake you for your watch.
Grandall volunteers to take first watch.
Cool.
I look over at Grandall. I'm like, do you reckon he killed it with like his death stare?
Oh, aye, laddie. He probably just sneezed too hard nearby it.
Do you reckon that's what it is?
No.
Oh.
That's great. No.
Laddie, get some sleep.
Yeah, time for bed, Gary.
Yes, all right, fine.
Cool. Yeah. So you can kind of you can either go up to the second floor and either lie in the musty hay, or you can put your bedrolls down and push the hay to one side, or you can sleep on the ground floor, underneath the cover of the floor above, as it were.
Yeah, that one.
Downstairs.
By the stinky hay.
Yeah. Elias, where did you sleep? Downstairs or upstairs?
Upstairs.
Cool. So you probably just retrieved your bedrolls and kind of headed off and found somewhere that you think looks like dry and appropriate. So you kind of both bed down. Nyla, are you bedding down? Well, not that you don't really bed down, but you're going to go find a corner to kind of curl up with.
Creepily sit upwards and not sleep. I will smile at Grandall and say, "Come get me in a couple of hours to do my shift." And then I'll go to into the ground floor of the barn with Bear.
Yeah, Bear will kind of, as you kind of walk off, Bear will kind of stand up, do one of those cat stretches, really really happy to be moving again, but obviously ready to go to bed apparently. He'll kind of gently headbutt Grandall, and he'll touch his head to kind of your probably stomach, and then kind of walk and kind of prowl after Nyla to go and curl up with her while she sleeps. Well, doesn't sleep.
Grandall sort of gives him a little gentle half hug as he pushes his head into his stomach.
kind of
Basically, sort of part hugs his head because it's the only bit
exactly.
that he can reach.
You'll get a little kind of, you'll sense kind of like a little half purr, and he'll follow off Nyla, and Pierre will kind of he hasn't been even talking whilst you've been sat round. He's been kind of surprisingly content in the silence. I was probably passing the booze round, and he'll kind of get up and go and clamber into the back of the caravan, and unroll a bedroll and sleep in the back of there, because it's like his argument being, just in case the roof isn't all it looks like it is, at least he'll be safe in the cart, and he'll kind of go for a sleep there. And you are left, Grandall, alone in the barn, kind of the gentle pitter-patter of the rain as it comes down. It's quite heavy rain, obviously, on the barn roof. Quite a soothing noise, I'd imagine. And you've got the fire kind of crackling beside you.
So the big main door that Gary threw open, I'm assuming we didn't close that again because it's so sort of knackered.
No, Pierre did ask him to close it.
Oh, it is closed. Okay, cool. In that case, Grandall sort of sits himself down with his back to the door, sort of listening out for any sounds other than the rain, and just sort of staring into the fire, just sort of, keeping an ear out, basically, actually doing his watch.
Cool.
He was going to have a look around in the back of the cart, but Pierre's gone to sleep there, so it's not really doable.
No, not that easy.
No.
Grandall not even Grandall thinks he's that good.
Yeah. Not worth the risk at the moment.
Oh yeah, you can have a relatively undisturbed watch. There's a couple of moments where you hear a noise, but it's just one of the guys kind of talking in their sleep or something. And
Cool.
It's a pretty uneventful watch, and it's quite a nice calm evening.
Cool. Okay, yeah. If my part of the watch passes without incident, I wake up Nyla when it's her turn, and so there you are, lass. Nothing to report so far, and I just sort of snuggle down next to Bear.
Yeah. Bear will just stay with him because he's warm.
Yeah.
Unless you specifically ask him to come with him.
No, it's kind of cute. I kind of like it. The little dude and the giant tiger. It's pretty adorable. It's like when a huge Alsatian makes friends with a tiny baby.
Yeah.
Do you voice this to Grandall, or is this just a thought that you have?
This is Nyla's inner monologue. She's like, "Oh, that's so cute, so cute."
Awesome.
And I'll go out near the fire, put another log on it, and do my watch.
Cool. Yeah. Your watch is similarly undisturbed. Again, there's a bit of murmurings from some of the people that are asleep, but nothing that kind of makes you feel like you need to investigate it. But yeah, it's uneventful.
I'll go wake up Elias then.
Cool. Yeah. So you do your watch, and you'll kind of climb up to the second floor and head over towards Elias. Elias, you. In fact, no, so you're going to head over to him and kind of try and rouse him.
Yes.
So, Elias, you're kind of gently, I assume?
Yeah.
Smack.
Let's get my crossbow and shoot him in the leg.
To man's payment.
I'm a bit wary because he doesn't like to be touched. So I probably try and rock him a little bit with my foot.
Yep. So do you say, and you say Elias?
Yeah.
So Elias, you hear Nyla say, "Elias, it's time for your watch." And you kind of look around, and you can't see her, and you're sat in kind of like a dark room, and there's nothing around you, and you can just kind of hear Nyla asking you to kind of get up and do your watch.
Okay. So I can't see anything.
Nope, you're sat in a dark room. You can't make anything out. It's just pitch black.
sat on the floor or something?
Yeah, am I
Just kind of, you're sat cross-legged on the floor.
That's not how I
can
was
hear-
asleep, I'm guessing.
No, it wasn't. And you kind of, you realise Nyla's asking you to wake up, and you kind of, as you are thinking, oh, Nyla wants me to wake up and do my watch, you remember that you're not in Master Tackett's tower having a lesson on magic. You're in a barn, and kind of you look around this room you're in that's lit nicely by a kind of crackling fire, and before you is an old man with a big kind of red beard who is arguing with this other who you recognize to be your master, and they're having this argument, and you are not quite sure why you need to wake up because you're having a lesson. And you're just waiting for this man to leave so that you can continue your lesson, so you can learn more about magic, because you're here to learn magic.
Can I listen into the argument? I'll try and resist waking up.
Yeah. So you can kind of focus on this argument they're having, and you can hear your master saying, it's kind of muffled, like you're listening through a wall, and you're stood with your hand against the door, like against the keyhole, listening to this argument happening on the other side of the door, because obviously you weren't allowed to be in the office of your master whilst he was having someone from the order there, because they couldn't know that he had an apprentice in the building at the same time as having another master there, because you're not allowed to have more than 3 mages in the place at the same time. So that wouldn't have been appropriate. So you were sent upstairs to your room, but obviously you snuck down so you could listen into the discussion of 2 of the greatest mages in the city, and you're kind of listening to this argument happening through the door, and all you can kind of make out through the muffled doorways is something about the bloody elves ruining everything again, and this will start the war that they've been expecting for years, if nothing else does, and they just need to hope that the dwarves don't find out, otherwise they're really going to be in trouble. And then you hear something else that you can't make out. It's the other man. His voice is much deeper, and it's muffled, and but almost you feel like maybe his beard is stopping you from being able to hear him properly. But that can't be right. There must be some other reason why you can't hear him, because maybe there's some sort of magic that stops you from listening in and spying on your master, and then you hear them talking about the elves and these lost things that need to stay lost. Otherwise, if people knew the truth, they'd never win the trust again. And then you hear Nyla kind of more like worriedly saying, "Wake up," because it's your watch, and you need to remember to wake up, because obviously it's your turn to do a watch now.
Elias, it's your watch. Wake up. Elias,
Elias, very angrily.
Are you trying to resist still?
I mean, I will try and resist, but I think, I know how dreams work, and I think eventually being aware of the outside influence
it's
is
making
enough
it harder
to draw,
and harder and
yeah,
harder.
it's enough to draw you out of it once you kind of acknowledge its presence. It's kind of...
Yeah.
So, I mean, I will resist for as long as I can, but I think that's only going to kind of speed my exit.
Yeah.
Out of the dream state.
You don't get much more. You just, again, it's mainly just something. It gets more and more muffled the longer you resist, and eventually you're roused by Nyla.
I will wake, and very angrily, I will curse, but damn you, woman, and I will get up for my watch.
is everything okay?
I would just ignore you, go downstairs, and do my watch. Is it dark?
It's quite dark. The fire is lighting it enough that you can see.
That's good, because I'm the only one without dark vision. I don't think doing a watch at night is a good idea, but I'll do it anyway.
Cool, yeah. Your watch is similarly undisturbed. I assume you go back to kind of snuggling up with Bear and Grandall, Nyla.
Yeah, it's getting a bit weird, actually. We've got a dog pile, but tiger pile.
Your watch is similarly undisturbed, Elias, but obviously you just have this dream in your head, and you can't place... actually, give me general law.
4. Great success.
So the mage that your master was talking to is one of the other mages from the city. Essentially, the city is so big that there are 3 mage towers there that are far enough apart for them each to have an apprentice.
Do I know his name?
Master Onek.
Who's spelling that?
Onek.
Do you know, I think I would probably just stay awake for the rest of the evening.
Yeah, you have had enough sleep now that you can do that.
Yeah. I do like my sleep though, but I think he's had quite a trying day, and this is only just kind of compounded.
So you have had a sleep since. This is the second night after the War Chief incident.
Oh, was it the second night? Right.
Yeah. So the first night was
Sorry.
completely uninteresting. The second night, there was the chance that you would spot that shelter, and you did. So.
Okay. Cool. All right. I thought it was the same day, but
yeah. Apologies.
Well, no, but it's even still. And plus, Gary was awake the whole fucking night before, so he could probably do with.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, he's still pretty tired.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'll just finish the rest of the night. How useful I am at actually watching after.
Yeah, so your watch is undisturbed. You just kind of are thinking about that dream probably, and just the events of the last day, and so. Yeah.
Cool.
And morning will break.
As soon as the sun comes up, I'll wake everyone up.
Yep, cool. So Elias wakes you all up.
So just because from character point of view, where is Nyla sleeping in relation to Bear and Grandall?
I would imagine that Nyla is kind of lying on Bear's stomach, like just with her head on the side of his torso.
I was kind of hoping that Bear was going to be the filling in the Nyla and Grandall sandwich.
That's how I
was imagining.
Yeah.
I was imagining Nyla as Big Spoon, and then Bear, and then Grandall as the
That's
smallest
how I.
spoon.
Yeah, that's totally how I picture it.
Exactly.
Let's give the public what they want.
It's like a very
so
diverse.
I'm spooning Bear.
Yeah.
I'm spooning Bear and Bear's spooning Grandall. This is so weird. Okay, sure.
It's not weird until Gary gets involved.
Oh,
Where did
just
you
you wait. He's chugging for some hugging.
So Grandall, having awoken, sort of looks about himself and gives Bear just the briefest little rub on the belly, and then gets up and sort of walks around and stretches his legs with there's no sense of awkwardness about it from him at all.
Yeah. Nice. Gary, you wake up and you feel refreshed for the first time in 2 days.
Hey,
And
how are my scythe wounds?
miraculously you are scythe wound free.
I did.
So are you taking that with you, by the way?
Yeah, sure, why not? If all else fails, I'll sell it.
Just so I know. Cool. So you kind of get up. I imagine you just kind of pack up your stuff again and get ready for another day on the road.
Yep.
It's still kind of spitting, like the rain. The heaviest part of the rain has passed, and it's just kind of like you can see the rain is kind of heading down the road south. Like it's not a big storm, but you can, when rain just, you see it, you can literally see it's heavier further down the road than it is where you are at the moment. The worst of it's past, and it's kind of like the road ahead looks a bit grey and a bit wet, but other than that, it looks like it's going to clear up by the evening, you imagine. And when Pierre gets up, he's just like, I'm so glad we're going to be in Klontam this evening. My back needs a real bed.
I'm going to be giving Elias the widest of berth all morning, because Jesus, I do not need this in my life. Being yelled at. So yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on him, but skirt him as much as possible.
Yeah, I think I got a proper cob on today.
Can you give me a will save, by the way, Elias?
I can't. Oh shit.
Succeed.
Do you know what? I'm going to use a reroll.
Oh god, I'm bored of being angry.
Yeah, because I'm not sure what it was for, and I rolled a 19, so that's another 19. Sorry.
Oh my goodness.
I tried.
Mad.
Essentially, it's just that your madness hasn't abated. It's still there in the back of your head.
Okay. All right. I'd already decided I had a big cob on anyway, so...
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So that can count as a short rest. That evening's rest, if you want to have one to gain spell slots back, that sort of thing. Because it's... Actually, sorry. I said the wrong word. That can count as the last night of a long rest. So if you want to have a long rest, that can have counted as a long rest, as you've been travelling for the last 3 days unmolested.
Okay, cool.
So maybe we get luck points back.
You get a luck point back, yes.
Hooray. Well, I wasn't losing any, but...
do we get any further progression on our leveling up during that?
Yes, you will actually. Good shout. So yeah, let's do your rolls.
Cool.
It's mad bin.
All I have to do is remember how to do that.
You get to roll a D8 or something.
D8, D10s, I think, depending on class.
Finding it. Yeah, I think you get a D10, Elias, and everyone else gets D8.
Rolling bones.
I'm gonna. Ooh. I rolled an 8. I'm not sure what that means.
So, an 8 is next level's hit points. So,
cool.
Have you already had your hit point increase?
No.
Then you get your hit point increase.
So...
Which for a
Find this.
barbarian is 1d6 plus con.
Just 1d6.
Yeah.
It's 1d6 plus 6 plus con.
Plus 6 plus...
Oh, sorry, my bad. I made that wrong. And then... what did you get, Nyla? That's the unique feature, which I think you already have. Didn't you get the sharpshooter thing?
Did last time, yes.
For those interested, I rolled a 4 plus 6 plus 2, which is 12,
Fuck.
bringing my hit points up to 26.
Fuck.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of hit
guys.
points.
That is a lot.
That's really good.
You've almost got
So what do
4
I get?
times as many hit points as me.
Well, I'm a beefy boy.
Yeah, so, Nyla, you can choose between next level's hit points or a class ability.
My class abilities.
So that's essentially an extra ranger craft. So you learn one additional talent if desired. You may substitute one known talent for another.
Well, I can substitute. I don't just get an extra one.
So it says each level thereafter. So at level 1, the ranger knows a number of talents equal to his perk modifier. Each level thereafter, the ranger learns one additional talent, and if desired, may substitute one known talent for another. So you get an additional one.
Nice.
So that's an additional use of your. Well, it's not a use of your ranger class. It's an additional thing from your ranger craft. Cool. So have a read of those and let us know what you pick. Grandall, what
Okay.
did you roll?
I rolled a 2.
So that's the additional reroll. So you get an additional reroll dice.
Awesome.
And
Very cool.
Elias, what did you get?
I got a 9.
So that's a new spell.
It is a new spell. I was kind of hoping for an extra spell slot. That would have been
Awesome.
good, but
Yeah.
new spell. I'll take that.
So yeah, also same as Nyla, just let us know what it is you pick. It's quite fun. How exciting.
I'm gonna go for the one that I wanted to take originally, but I'm gonna take now, which is Animal Ken. So the ranger and his beast companion, so bear, may briefly exchange detailed information, including matters which might not normally be imparted by an animal at the DM's GM's discretion. The GM might require a perception check for especially complex information. So basically, me and Bear, our exchanging of looks now might mean something.
Cool. Yeah.
I guess.
Awesome. Yeah.
Why do you like Grandall so much?
Yeah, that's
Bear?
basically my first question.
Did you actually? You're gonna ask him why he likes Grandall so much?
I'm gonna be. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna talk to Bear, and I'm gonna say, sweetie, what's with the dwarf?
So essentially, the way I really like this idea of you being able to talk to Bear, and I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna kind of. I know this is a low magic world, and this is not magic, and this is kind of like ideas and detailed information you're able to give. I don't really get how I can give that to you in a manner that makes sense for a low magic world. So I'm just kind of going to give you, if he could talk, this is what he would say.
Okay. It's more me being able to pick up on his body language a lot better.
Yeah, and you just kind of are in tune with him, so you kind of your empathy level is so strong that you can you feel the same things he does almost. But essentially, in so many words, Bear's reason for liking Grandall so much is because he also has seen the red-headed elf.
What?
Oh, in his he had a vision when he drank the stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
And obviously, I don't know that Grandall saw this, do I?
Yes.
No, I do.
Yeah,
I
he did
do.
explain.
Grandall did explain.
He wanted to know what the words meant.
That's right. Okay, that's terrifying. I will store that piece of information.
See, it's funny because Grandall just assumes that he's given this tiger beef jerky, and that's why the tiger likes it.
Kind of what I was assuming as well, and that you've given him head scratches.
Yeah, good at scritches and gives meat.
He's got really sharp nails, so he can really get into the skull, you know.
Yeah.
Has meat will scritch.
Elias, did you pick your spell?
I
I don't know how many there are for level 1, so I don't know.
There's quite a few.
Okay, I will leave you to let us know.
Yeah, I've got a couple of good ones. I mean, I could pick Glimpse of the True Gods.
Wow.
I mean, Thunderous Invocation, that one's pretty good. I don't know. I'll
Just out of interest, John, what spells do you have at the moment? Because obviously we've seen a few of them.
I don't actually have that many, in fairness. So the only one you haven't seen is the magic missile equivalent. Can I find it?
Arcane missile.
Lash of an Earring Pain. So
that sounds a bit more extreme than magic
so
missile.
I've got Pierce the Veil,
yeah.
which is the detect magic, Speaker of all tongues, Lash of an Earring Pain, and Insidious Slumber.
They're such a great.
They are, to be honest, they've
Insidious
been given such good names.
They're all potential heavy metal album
Yes,
names.
definitely.
They are absolutely.
So the question is whether I go defensive, utility, or ouchie.
I feel like in your current mood, you're probably going to choose ouchie.
I really liked Glimpse of the True Gods, which is basically fear.
Nice.
That is a cool one.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a more of a think about it. Come back to it because there's a lot of spells.
There are a lot of spells. You get quite a good choice, don't you? Cool. So yeah, as long as you let us know, that's fine. So yeah, you can kind of get on your way and move down the road. You'll get to the next town, because you stopped earlier in the day, the previous day. You'll probably get to the town kind of late evening, because obviously you'll want to get to town before stopping. So it'll take you a little bit of a longer day today, but you had a bit of an extra rest yesterday, so it's not too bad. Yeah, you'll make it to town without too much problem. You know, the cart gets stuck in a couple of places where it's been wet and it's muddy, but Gari manages to, push it out of the mud and it's all fine. And you arrive at the town of Klontam, and they are just kind of part way through the Autumn Equinox Festival, and there's kind of a fair on in town. There's like Lots of market stalls that are, as you get into town, the market stalls are just kind of closing down for the evening. It's probably like 10, 11 o'clock by the time you get into town, and the market stalls are just starting to close. Like the revelers in the streets are kind of beginning to disperse because it's really dark. And people are, the torchlight people are kind of going around and snuffing all but the, required torches that are kind of around the stables and stuff. And you'll get to town, and Pierre will pay for the horses to be stabled and his wagon to be stabled as well. And then he'll kind of get himself a room in the inn, and he will pay for you to all have bunks in kind of the almost like, so the most inns in this world, they have the individual rooms, but then they also have like the shared bunk, like hostel type section for mercenaries and people that haven't got as much gold, and he'll pay for each of you to have a bed in that section. And it comes with a hot meal and stuff, that sort of thing. But yeah, so you're probably all pretty tired by the time you get there. So this is a town, it's safe. You don't need to have a watch or anything, so you can all just kind of go to sleep.
Where does Bear go?
Bear isn't allowed in the inn, but he is allowed to be in the stables, providing he is left with the wagon, he agrees, or Nyla or somebody agrees that he will stay there and not cause any problems.
And eat horses.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sleep in the stable with Bear.
Cool.
Not sleep. I'll sit in the stable with Bear.
So you successfully get to the first town out of Final Rest. It's taken you, 3 days of travel. Quite a lot's gone on in those first 3 days of leaving town, and you kind of lie down in the first bed that most of you lie down in the first bed that you've slept in since Final Rest, and I'm sure that pretty quickly you will all fall fast asleep.